Hi, everyone. I am in our second home, our summer home in Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, which is an absolutely beautiful place to live. And I am in a log house, which is really wonderful. And today I'm going to share with you some pointers on playing some of the 12 preludes by Timothy Brown. So this particular series is exceptional for students in order for them to understand the romantic style. So these are great precursors for music of the great composers like Schumann and Chopin. They are from medium level difficulty in the National Federation of Music Clubs all the way to difficult, very difficult class 2. So there's a lot of variation for you to choose from. Let's see. You'll also teach students, besides the rubato style, really wonderful voicing, balance between the hands, pedaling, and always listening to the sound that is produced. So I'm going to play the Prelude number 1 in D minor. So this is a really good piece to discuss the idea of not to stretch when playing the piano. So we don't want to have our students play stretching for these different higher notes when they're playing the triads and their inversions, because then they will never pick up speed and they'll lock their wrists and their fingers will get awfully tight and flat. So instead, first of all, for a smaller hand, I think I would change the fingering. So for measure, I'm going to talk about measure 1 all the way through measure 8. I would use this fingering: 4, 5, 4, 4, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, 4. And the reason for that is it's much easier to create these ovals in our physical gesture. I call them over the moon and under the moon. So over and then under to prepare the next leap. And then of course the same fingering will take place when the students get to the recapitulation, and we all know that is at measure 23, 21 to 23 here. Fingering 4 when I use it. So for a bigger hand, of course, the fingering that's written would be totally fine. So we have to remember just not to have our students stretch at all and make sure that the physical gestures are conducive to the phrasing that we want our students to hear and to listen to and to produce. So now let's delve into the Prelude number 2 in F sharp minor by Timothy Brown. This is how the beginning sounds. So what do you notice about this piece? The left hand has a beautiful legato line, but it is legato because of all the repetitions of these repeated notes. letter C between fingers 1 and 2, and they play on the outside tip of their thumbnail. And they always have to play with a free arm, so absolutely no locked wrist or upper arm or forearm. In the right hand, this voicing is really important because we don't want our students to sound like this. Notes of each interval being equal in sound. So in order to voice well, the students need to shift their weight so that their arm weight is actually heavier on the top key of every interval. And then listening is absolutely a key component in order to voice well. That piece is of moderately difficult class 1 in the National Federations of Music Clubs. Prelude number 3 in A major by Timothy Brown. We can't even begin to think about a beautiful sound and good tone production without focusing on a free arm. If any part of this playing mechanism is tight and locked, then there won't be any variation in the sound, and there won't be any balance in the sound, and we won't have any beauty in the sound. So when we play pieces, we want to make sure that the wrist is supple and that the forearm and the wrist and the upper arm are free. These 12 preludes are marvelous predecessors to the music of the Romantic era composers. And just look at Succeeding with the Masters, Romantic Era, Volume 2, the music of Schubert, Schumann, Tchaikovsky, and Chopin. This piece that I just played reminds me so much of a wonderful work, an early advanced work by Robert Schumann, which is entitled Little Cradle Song. You'll notice the same sort of voicing on the very top of each of the chords that I'm going to play. You notice that? So So the voicing that the student learns in this much more intermediate level work, once their ear is attuned to that beautiful voicing as well as their physical gestures, they can do the exact same thing in a more advanced work. Clara Schumann, who was Robert Schumann's wife, she said, "Why hurry over beautiful things? Why not linger and enjoy them?" I bet you've all heard this fabulous Prelude by Chopin, Opus 28, number 20. So this wonderful prelude, early advanced level, is in Succeeding with the Masters, Volume 2, the music of Schubert, Schumann, Tchaikovsky, and Chopin. So what about our students who really want to play these amazing works by the master composers? Well, it's perfect for them to learn 12 preludes by Timothy Brown. These are from easier levels up through, I would say, late intermediate level, and each one of them has an artistic focus. This Prelude number 4 in C minor by Timothy Brown is moderately difficult class 1 if you are using this for the National Federation of Music Clubs this year for your students. And this reminds me so much of the Chopin Prelude that they could play after they've learned several of these preludes by Tim Brown. Students can think about voicing, of course, in this piece, voicing the tops of the intervals, and what happens in the left hand when there is a moving note. They could bring out the note that moves here, B flat to A, and then that top note that changes. Again, the bottom notes that change, and then both voices change. The student can think about where the high point of each phrase is. So think about 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Oh, that is one long phrase, isn't it? 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It keeps going, that phrase. And then it dissipates. So some beautiful ways for students to think about phrasing as well as voicing in this incredibly artistic piece by Timothy Brown. Hi everyone. Let's take a look at the Prelude number 5 in A minor by Timothy Brown in his collection called 12 Preludes, a wonderful collection that can be used as precursors to the Romantic era composers. So this Prelude number 5, it says Allegro nobilmente, which means happy and with nobility. So it's definitely in the way that Chopin would have thought about his marvelous polonaises and mazurkas as a nationalist composer from Poland. So there are 4 scale patterns that the student really needs to learn well. So the first one is at the very beginning. There's a tricky little thumb underneath this little triplet, and then the third finger, and then the student can pick up their hand before they play the next downbeat. There's your thumb again, and I would suggest that they just stop and check that their hand is aligned, that they're playing on the outside tip of their thumbnail, and that they are prepared to play the following keys. That's really important. Prepare the next 3 keys. And then the next scale pattern is just the exact same, although it goes to a new chord on the downbeat. And this is a simpler drop into the key so that they can actually make the entire phrase legato. And then there's a little interlude or another secondary theme. And then we have our longest scale pattern. Beautiful. And then the next scale pattern is the exact same as the very first scale pattern. And then we have the 4th scale pattern, and this one actually is the most challenging of all. He was in the key of A minor, and now we suddenly hear A major. All right, so in order for the student to be able to play this well, let's make sure that the student is pushing towards the C sharp, and then the next downbeat of the next triplet. Nice and slowly. It's like it's a bullseye to every downbeat of a triplet. Yes, I have it. Yes, I have it. Yes, I have it. All right, so repetition is the key, as you know. 8 times, 16 times correctly. And then there is a big climactic section of the piece, And here, let's talk a little bit about the left hand. In order to get all these jumps in, let's use play prepare. So let's prepare the next chord, prepare the next octave, prepare the next chord, prepare the next chord, prepare the next note, and then prepare the next chord. So play prepare means to play something and then prepare what is following. And then, only then, when you know with 100% security that you're going to play it with 100% accuracy, is when the next beat should be played. And I might want to sit there and just think about, okay, what do I want to do next? And you notice I've now changed my pattern from one beat and then just stopping. Then I go into 2 beats and then I stop. But it is definitely going back to A minor, dominant E major to tonic A minor. That one's tricky. And then we go to E, another E, and then A. And the other thing about the left hand is I think it's important for voicing purposes that we change the pedal on every beat so that we don't hear that kind of goo. So we hear clarity and the harmony. So here's the prelude number 5 in A minor. If you are thinking about using this piece for the next National Federation of Music Clubs in your state, this is Moderately Difficult Class 3. This prelude by Timothy Brown, number 6, is tumultuous. He marks it Allegro Misterioso. It is marked Very Difficult Class 3 in the National Federation of Music Clubs. This piece is churning. It's tumultuous. It's stormy. We could ask our students an open question. What kind of scene is going on outside? Is it a big storm? Is it a lull of the storm? Is it waves crashing? Is it a pleasant day at the beach? So all kinds of things that they can think about in order to have a great sense of imagination for this work. So in the right hand, there are quarter notes, as you'll see in the music, and they create a beautiful line. Students can listen for that phrasing. And then we go into our second theme area. So in order for these melodies to come through the tumultuous 16th note patterns in the first and second fingers below, I would suggest that we have our students use gentle little kick forward. So not a kick off, but a kick forward. So you notice the hand, the wrist, and the forearm all move forward at the same time, like kicking a beach ball. So it's not about having a student do rolling wrist in a piece like this. Right? Lots of students do this when I'm doing some judging and the elbow is flaring out and they're doing all these round circles, and it doesn't do anything for a long musical line. It takes too long to play and it just sounds hilarious, and it looks hilarious too. So just think about that nice kick forward. And of course, you know that the students learn these fantastic physical gestures for the first time in Succeeding at the Piano. You can download this on my website, Succeeding at the Piano, through 5 physical gestures. Here they're learning the drip, drop, roll motion, the tissue box, the woodpecker, the push off, and the kick off. And as the students get older, then these particular physical gestures take on new light, take on new sounds. And so the kickoff that used to be a short release is now part of a long musical line. So here's the prelude number 6 in F minor.